Good evening, everyone. It's about 10 p.m. on Tuesday evening, and we just had an earthquake, 5.0, and the epicenter was just a little bit north of Cebu Island. And we are on the very southern edge of the severe zone. I did get a message on my phone. It said there was an earthquake, expect aftershocks. And then the building started shaking. And it shook and rocked the building for about a minute. And it was pretty severe. The building went up and down and it went sideways. I am on the 14th floor. It's kind of scary. And I took the elevator shaft. I walked the elevator. Actually, I walked the staircase 14 floors down, and now I'm on the street in front of 8 Newtown Boulevard. It is a pretty scary situation. And they are evacuating the buildings. The evacuation alarms rang. I was already on the, I think, 3rd floor when the emergency alarm sounded and told everybody to evacuate the buildings. But this is the first time I had an earthquake at Mactan, Newtown. They do have earthquake drills. In fact, we had earthquake drills about a month ago. And everybody's congregating and meeting out front on the sidewalk here. Which is standard procedure. They said the aftershocks could continue, so I assume when they feel the aftershocks are over that they'll let people back in the buildings after they check the buildings for safety. I'll keep you updated. Stay tuned. Here is more video of people meeting in the evacuation zone, which is the park across the street. And there are the towers of Newtown Boulevard, 1, 2, 3, and 4. That is the swimming pool. They are flashing a laser light on the side of the buildings. You can see the laser lights. They're shining on the side of tower number 2. Not sure what they're looking for with the laser lights. Is there any way they can tell the structure of the building using a laser light? I have no idea. But the buildings did shake pretty good. They went sideways at first and then they went up and down. I did not hear any cracking noises. It took me a few minutes to gather some of my belongings, my wallet. And then I started heading down the stairs. And that noise, what you hear, that is the emergency alarm. The evacuation alarm. That's what it sounded like. And I got down to about the 3rd floor when the emergency alarm went off. And there is the corgi dog. I don't know what's going on over here, but it's supposed to rain. And I do feel raindrops on my head right now. And they are now telling people to get off of the street and meet over in the park area. Because the evacuation plan calls for people to meet in the park adjacent to the bar Canto. and they should not be meeting on the street.
Hey, that's why I'm moving away from the building.
Yeah, move away from the building, over the park, man. So here we are meeting in the park adjacent to the Bar Canto. That is Tower 3, that is Tower 4 of 8 Newtown Boulevard. That is Tower 1. And that is the crowd right over there. This is one of the pitfalls and concerns of living in a high-rise building, as you are living on the ring of fire, the earthquake zone that runs from northern Southeast Asia to the south. Stay tuned. Just to let you know, when the building started shaking, it shook for a minute or so, and the power went out after that first minute. And the power was out for probably a minute, and then I don't know if the emergency generators turned on, and then the power came back on. And that's when I got my belongings together and started heading down the staircase. There was one elevator that did not have lights on it. The other elevator had lights and seemed to work, but I did not want to get into that elevator. I chose to walk down 14 flights of stairs. But the power went off, it came back on, and there you have the police. You have a crowd of people waiting in the park area here at the Bar Canto. I did experience an earthquake when I was on vacation in Mexico 10 years ago. It was not this bad. This earthquake seemed to shake the building more than the one that I was in Mexico. The building shook pretty good, actually, now that I'm looking back and thinking about it. Stuff on the walls started swinging. I don't believe anything fell down. There was no light fixtures that fell, but it was pretty close to that point. And it lasted longer than the one in Mexico. The earthquake in Mexico only lasted maybe 10 or 15 seconds. This one shook the building for probably close to a minute. And then there was a few smaller aftershocks I could feel. Stay tuned. Now they got the fire trucks in front of 8 Newtown Boulevard condominiums. I have no idea how long this is gonna take. And even if they let me in, I'm not sure I want to go back into that building. Wow. Now I just looked at my phone. It was a 6.9 magnitude earthquake. Epicenter 27 miles north of Cebu, Philippines. The epicenter was on the northern tip of Cebu Island, which is around 27 miles north of here. 6.9 is the official reading that I have on my phone. I initially got an alert on my phone when I was in the condo. It was 9:59 p.m. I got an alert on my phone. It said, magnitude 5.0 earthquake, expect aftershocks Within a second or two, the building started shaking. It went up and down. It went sideways. Things were rattling on the walls. Then the lights went out. And then the lights came on. After about a minute, the lights came back on. I gathered a few things, a shirt and some shoes. I grabbed the wallet and I started heading down the stairway. I just talked to some people who actually took the elevators down from the 16th floor. If you're in an earthquake, you want to take the stairway and not the elevators. Just so you know. But they did make it down okay in the elevator. So that is the latest report, 6.9 magnitude earthquake, epicenter 27 miles north of Cebu City in the Philippines. We are still waiting for the green light to go back into those buildings. And I'll be honest with you, friends, I'm going to be sleeping with one eye open tonight. Stay tuned for more. Robinson's grocery store is still on. Here we are about 1 hour later. We are still waiting for an all clear signal to go back into the condo buildings. No, that is not smoke, that is a cloud in the air. We do have a prediction of rain tonight. It is not raining now. There's a few sprinkles a little while ago. You see Tower 1 of 8 Newtown has lights on, so does Tower 2. Tower 3, I see no lights. Tower 4, I see one light. I did see them shining lights on the side of the buildings. They're trying to inspect these buildings for any damage. Not sure what they can see from the ground, shining a light up against a building. I'll keep you posted. It is about an hour. We're still waiting. We have people milling around on the streets. They're even over at the Starbucks. If I'd be them, I'd be away from the buildings. There's still a chance they could fall over. And here is the rest of the crowd waiting to get back in. That's the Bar Canto, that's the Andale. I'll keep you posted. The lights just came on. It's about 11:30 p.m. The earthquake occurred at 9:59 p.m. Now the condo tower lights are on, the street lights are on. They are not yet letting us into the buildings, but people are anticipating getting back into those buildings. We will find out. There's still a lot of people waiting here in the park area. But at least we're not standing around in the dark. The lights are on, but nobody's home. Evacuation due to a 6.9 magnitude earthquake that occurred off the northern tip of Cebu Island, 27 miles north of the city of Cebu. Lights are on at the Andale and the Bar Canto. Here are the Tower of 8 Newtown, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Police are directing traffic on Newtown Boulevard. People are lined up up and down Newtown Boulevard. Somebody was pulling up some pictures on their phone. The New Star Casino has damage. They evacuated the hospital in Cebu City. The patients are out on the sidewalks. This was a big earthquake. Lots of damage in and around the Cebu area. We are in Lapu-Lapu on Mactan Island, which is east of Cebu, probably 3 or 4 miles. But it appears that Cebu City and some of the structures in Cebu had some major damage done tonight. Stay tuned. I'll keep you updated. Okay guys, they let us back in the condo building at midnight, so almost exactly 2 hours after the earthquake. They let us back in the building. I did take the elevator back up. Both elevators seem to be working. I'll turn the camera around and let you see. There's elevator 1, and that's elevator 2. All the lights are on. I'll walk down the hallway. I'll let you take a look out the window. Now I'm out on the balcony. That's the Positano. That's the Pearl. You can see there's some lightning in the area. It's not raining yet. You can see an ambulance off in the distance. There are people still walking around on the streets. There are some people in the parks yet. That is Cebu, the lights north of Cebu City, right over there.